The gunfire echoed through the hospital lobby at 3:47 a.m. Sarah Chen was restocking supplies on the third floor when the building went dark. Emergency lights flickered red. Screams rose from below. She moved toward the stairwell while everyone else ran away. Her supervisor grabbed her arm. "Where are you going?" "We need to hide." Sarah's hand brushed something beneath her scrubs.
"Where are you going?"
Cold metal.
"You need to hide!"
A badge no one knew she carried. "Stay here," she said quietly. The way she said it made the supervisor let go. Downstairs, armed men were separating hostages. The youngest nurse on staff was walking into a war zone. But Sarah Chen hadn't been just a nurse in a very long time. And tonight, someone was going to find out why. The stairwell was silent, except for Sarah's soft footsteps. She moved like water, smooth, controlled. Her breath never changed. Rhythm at the second-floor landing. She paused, pressed her ear to the door. Voices, angry, speaking. A language most people wouldn't recognize. She recognized it. 3 years in Kabul had made sure of that. Sarah's fingers found the small device clipped inside her waistband. Not standard nurse equipment. She pressed it twice. A silent signal sent to a number that didn't officially exist. Help was coming. But help was 20 minutes. Away 20 minutes was a lifetime when men with automatic weapons controlled your hospital. She kept descending. The smell hit her at the first floor. Gunpowder, fierce sweat, the sharp Thames of spilled disinfectant where someone had knocked over a supply cart. Through the small window in the stairwell door, she could see them. 5 men, black tactical gear, faces covered. They'd herded about 30 people into the main lobby. Doctors, nurses, security, guards on their knees with hands behind their heads. Dr. Harrison was there. The chief of surgery who'd called her sweetie, Intern, and told her to fetch him coffee. He was crying. One of the gunmen was shouting, demanding something. His weapon pointed at a terrified receptionist. Sarah watched, calculated, counted weapons, noted positions, identified the leader by the way the others glanced at him before. Moving old habits, habits that had kept her alive in places that would give these men nightmares. She reached for the door handle. A hand grabbed her shoulder from behind. Sarah spun. Her elbow stopped 1 inch from the janitor's throat. Miguel, 60 years old. Kind eyes. He cleaned her floor every night, and they talked about his grandchildren. Those kind eyes were wide with terror now. "Sarah, no," he whispered. "You go out there, they kill you." She looked at him. Really looked at him. Then she did something that confused him. She smiled. Not a happy smile. Something else. Something that made Miguel take a step back. "Miguel," she said softly, "I need you to go back upstairs. Lock yourself in the supply closet on 3. Don't come out until you hear sirens." But now, the word wasn't loud, but it carried weight. Authority. The kind that made Miguel's body obey before his mind caught up. He stumbled backward, disappeared up the stairs. Sarah turned back to the door. Through the window, she saw the leader check his watch. Saw him gesture to 2 of his men. They grabbed a young nurse, Kelly, fresh out of school, and dragged her toward the hall. Sarah knew what came next. She knew because she'd seen it before. In a compound outside Kandahar, in a safe house in Mosul, terrorists didn't take hostages to waiting rooms for conversation. Her hand found the door handle again, but this time, she didn't hesitate. If you want to see what happens when Sarah steps into that lobby, hit subscribe. Because this story is just beginning. The door opened with a soft click. All 5 weapons turned toward. The sound. Sarah stepped through. Hands visible. Expression calm. "Please," she said, her voice shaking just right. "Please don't hurt anyone. I'm just an intern. I got scared and hid." The leader studied her, gestured with his weapon. "Get with the others." Sarah walked forward. Small steps, uncertain. The perfect picture of a terrified young woman. She passed within 3 feet of the nearest Gunman close enough to see the slight tremor in his grip. The sweat on his neck? Close enough to smell the cigarettes and cheap cologne? Close enough to count his heartbeats? She filed it all away. Every detail. Every weakness. Dr. Harrison looked up as she approached the hostages. His face twisted with something like pity. "Oh, Sarah," he whispered. "You should have run." She knelt beside him, hands behind her head like the others. Maybe she said quietly what she didn't say. She'd stopped running a long time ago, which she didn't say. Every person in this room had just become exponentially safer. What she didn't say? The most dangerous person in this building wasn't. Holding a gun, she was wearing scrubs with a small coffee stain on the pocket, and she was exactly where she needed to be. Asterisk 12. Minutes had passed since Sarah entered the lobby. She'd counted every one. The terrorists were getting nervous. Their leader kept checking his phone. No signal. Sarah had made sure of that when she'd triggered a jammer hidden in the third floor supply room. A jammer that wasn't on any hospital inventory. The two men who'd taken Kelly hadn't returned yet. Sarah could hear muffled sounds from the east corridor. A door slamming. Kelly's frightened voice. She had maybe 3 minutes before things got worse for that girl. 3 minutes to make her first move. "Please," she said, her voice breaking. I need to use the bathroom." The leader barely looked at her. "No, I'm going to be sick." Sarah made a retching sound. Convincing. "I'll be quick." Dr. Harrison shot her a look. "Shut up," that look said. "Don't draw attention." Good old Dr. Harrison. Always underestimating her. One of the gunmen, the nervous one. The one with the trembling hand stepped forward. "Let her go. If she throws up here, it stinks." The leader waved his weapon. "Fine, you go. 1 minute." He watches. Sarah stood slowly, unsteady. She stumbled a little. The nervous gunman grabbed her arm, shoved her toward the hallway bathroom. She let him. The bathroom door closed behind them. Fluorescent light humming overhead, the smell of industrial soap. "Hurry up," the gunman said. He stood with his back to the sinks, weapon pointed at her. Sarah looked at him. Really looked 20-5, maybe scared. The way he held his rifle, wrong grip, poor stance. This wasn't a soldier. This was someone playing soldier. "Can you turn around?" she asked. "Please." He laughed. Cruel. "No." "Okay." Sarah's voice went quiet. "Different. Then I'm sorry about this." His finger moved toward the trigger, too slow. Sarah's hand shot out, deflected the barrel. Her other hand found his throat. Not a strike. A pressure point. His eyes went wide. Body went rigid. She eased him down as consciousness left him. Caught the rifle before it clattered. Checked his pulse. Alive. Just sleeping. 40 seconds. Not bad. She stripped him quickly. Tactical vest. Radio. Zip ties from his belt. She bound his hands and feet. Gagged him with his own mask. Dragged him into a stall. The radio crackled. A voice in Arabic. Khalid status. Sarah pressed the transmit button. Made a garbled sound. Static. Released. It would buy her maybe 2 minutes. She checked the rifle. Full magazine. 1 in the chamber. Safety off. These weren't professionals. Professionals didn't leave safeties off. Sarah moved to the door. Cracked it open. The hallway was empty except for the sounds from the room where they'd taken Kelly. She moved like smoke down the corridor. The door was ajar. Light spilling out. 2 voices inside. One was Kelly, crying. The other was laughing. Sarah's jaw tightened. She'd heard that laugh before. Different men. Different countries. Same evil. She reached the doorway. Peered in. Kelly was in the corner. Shirt torn. One of the terrorists standing over her. The other filming with his phone. Smile for the camera, he said in accented English. Show the world what happens to. He never finished the sentence. Sarah came through the door low and fast. Her rifle stock caught the first man in the temple. He dropped like cut strings. The second man spun, reaching for his weapon, too slow. Sarah's boot found his knee. Something cracked. He screamed. Started to fall. She caught him. One arm around his throat. Pressure, counted to 5. He went limp. Kelly stared at her. Mouth open. Tears on her face. Kelly, Sarah said gently. Are you hurt? The young nurse shook her head. Unable to speak, could listen carefully. Take this. Sarah handed her the zip ties. Bind their hands. Tight. Then hide in that closet. Don't come out until the police arrive. I don't understand. How did you, Kelly? Focus. Can you do what I asked? Kelly nodded. Her hands were shaking, but she started binding the unconscious men. Sarah moved to the door. Checked the hallway clear. She looked back at Kelly. The girl was staring at her like she was seeing a stranger. Maybe she was. Oh, Sarah, Kelly whispered. Who are you? Sarah paused. For just a moment, something flickered across her face. Something old and tired and dangerous. I'm a nurse, she said. Just like you. It wasn't quite a lie. She'd been a nurse for 3 years. Before that, she'd been other things. Things that didn't appear on resumes. Things that required different badges. Things that taught you how to drop a man in, too. Seconds without making a sound, she slipped back into the hallway. The radio crackled again. Khalid. Youssef report. The leader's voice. Angry now. Suspicious, Sarah moved back toward the lobby. She needed to be there before they figured out where are they. The shout echoed through the hospital. Sarah heard the sound of someone being struck. A woman crying out. She rounded the corner, saw the lobby. The leader had grabbed Dr. Harrison by his collar. The other gunmen had their weapons pointed at the hostages. Someone here is playing games, the leader snarled. Where are my men? No one answered. He pressed his pistol against Dr. Harrison's head. I will count to 5. If no one tells me they're in the bathroom? Everyone turned. Sarah stood in the hallway entrance, empty-handed, trembling slightly. The intern? The leader's eyes narrowed. You were with Khalid. He let me go. Told me to run. I heard a noise. Went to check. Your other men, they're in a patient room. I think one of them got sick or something. I got scared. I came back. The leader studied her, weighing, calculating. Show me, he said finally. Sarah nodded, started walking, and led him exactly where she wanted him to go. The leader followed Sarah down the corridor, his pistol pointed at her back. Behind them, one gunman remained with the hostages. The last one followed, at a distance. Sarah could feel their eyes on her, could hear their breathing, could map their positions without looking. Here, she said, stopping at a patient room. I heard sounds from inside. The leader gestured for his remaining man to check it. The gunman pushed past Sarah, entered the room. Weapon raised. Empty, he called out. No one. He saw the bound men in the corner. Too late. Sarah's hand found the fire extinguisher mounted on the wall. Heavy, red, cold metal. She swung it like a club. Caught the following gunman in the side of his head. He went down hard. Weapon clattering. The leader spun toward her. But Sarah was already moving. She threw the extinguisher. Nodded him. At the ceiling light directly above him, glass exploded. Sparks, darkness. The leader fired. Once, twice. Bullets hit empty air. Sarah was already beside him. Her hand found his wrist, twisted. His weapon fired again, into the ceiling. She drove her knee into his solar plexus, heard the air leave his lungs. He tried to bring the pistol back around. She caught his arm, used his momentum, sent him stumbling into the wall. His head connected with the corner of a supply cabinet. He slumped. The gunman in the room rushed out. Rifle coming up. Sarah was faster. She grabbed the fallen pistol. Didn't aim, pointed, fired. The round hit the rifle. Sparked off metal. The weapon flew from his hands. He froze. Stared at her. On your knees, she said. Her voice had changed. No tremor. No fear. Hands behind your head. Do it now. He dropped. Fast. Smart. Sarah zip-tied him without taking her eyes off the hallway. Checked the leader's pulse. Still breathing. She collected their weapons. Secured them. For down two to go. The radio crackled. Status. What's happening? The last gunman in the lobby, he'd heard the shots. Sarah pressed the transmit button. Made her voice harsh. Barked in Arabic. Situation contained. Stay with the hostages. A pause. Then, confirmed. She moved back toward the lobby, slow, calculating. 1 gunman left with 30 hostages. Bad odds for a frontal assault. She needed leverage. The radio crackled again. But not the terrorist frequency. A different channel. Emergency services. All units, we have confirmation of federal response en route. 8 to 16 minutes. Establish perimeter. Do not engage. Repeat, do not engage until federal team arrives. 16 minutes. 16 minutes until her backup showed up. 16 minutes until someone asked very uncomfortable questions. About how a new intern had disarmed for armed terrorists. Sarah reached the lobby entrance. Peered around the corner. The last gunman was pacing. Nervous. His weapon swinging between the hostages. He kept looking at the hallway. Waiting for his team, Dr. Harrison was watching him. The doctor's face had gone from terrified to calculating. He was thinking, planning, bad idea. Sarah saw it happen like slow motion. Dr. Harrison whispered something to the security guard next to him. The guard's eyes widened. Shook his head. But Harrison was already moving. Heroes get people killed, Sarah whispered to herself. Harrison lunged at the gunman's legs. The guard followed a second later. The gunman stumbled, but he didn't fall. His rifle swung down. No, someone screamed. His finger found the trigger. Sarah was already running. She closed the distance in 4 seconds. Came in from his blind side. Her hand found his rifle. Pushed it up. The burst went into the ceiling. Acoustic tiles exploded. She drove her shoulder into his ribs. Sent him sprawling. He rolled, fast, started to bring the weapon around. Sarah kicked it away. Her boot found his jaw. He went still. Silence fell over the lobby. 30 sets of eyes turned to her. Sarah stood there, breathing steady, not even winded. Dr. Harrison stared up at her from the floor. His mouth worked, but no sound came out. Everyone stay down, Sarah said quietly. It's over. How? The security guard whispered. How did you? The front doors exploded inward. SWAT poured through. Black armor, rifles. Flashlights cutting through the darkness. Hands up. Hands up. Sarah raised her hands. Stayed calm. 5 suspects secured, she called out. For in the east corridor, 1 here, all alive. 0 casualties. A SWAT officer approached her. Weapon trained on her center mass, on the ground. Now Sarah knelt. Put her hands behind her head. Standard procedure. She'd been on the other side of this entry 100 times. She let them cuff her. Didn't resist. Didn't explain. They'd figure it out soon enough. Dr. Harrison found his voice. Wait, she saved us. She's a nurse. She, sir, step back, the SWAT officer said. We'll sort this out. He led Sarah toward the doors. Past the hostages. Past the bound terrorists. Past the wreckage of what had been a quiet night shift. Kelly appeared in the doorway. Escorted by 2 officers, she saw Sarah in cuffs, and her eyes went wide. No, she rescued me. She's not, ma'am. Please wait outside. Sarah caught Kelly's eyes. Gave her a small nod. It's okay, that nod said. Let them do their job. Outside, the parking lot had transformed. Police cars. Fire trucks, ambulances, news vans already setting up. And 1 black SUV, unmarked, just pulling through the perimeter. Sarah saw it and almost smiled. Right on time. The SUV stopped 20 feet from the entrance. The door opened. A woman stepped out, 50-something, gray suit, ID on her belt. She looked at the scene, looked at the SWAT team, looked at Sarah in handcuffs. She walked straight to the SWAT commander, showed him something. His face changed. He looked at Sarah, then back at the woman. "Uncuff her," the woman said quietly. "Now, ma'am, we don't know. I know exactly who she is." The woman's voice could cut steel. "And you're going to release her immediately, or I'm going to have a very uncomfortable conversation with your chief." The SWAT commander hesitated, then gestured to his officer. The cuffs came off. Sarah rubbed her wrists, looked at the woman. "Director Chen," she said, no emotion in her voice. The woman who shared Sarah's last name, no relation, though everyone assumed studied her. "Captain Director Chen said, we need to talk." Behind them, Dr. Harrison had made it outside. He heard the word captain. His face went white. "Captain," he repeated. "You're military?" Director Chen didn't look at him. Neither did Sarah. "Not quite," the director said. "Let's walk." They moved away from the crowd, away from the cameras, away from the confusion. "You were supposed to be undercover," Director Chen said quietly. "Deep cover. Monitoring the hospital's connection to that trafficking network. Not engaging. They were going to hurt people," Sarah said. "Your cover is blown, I know. 3 years of work." "Yes, ma'am." Director Chen stopped walking, turned to face Sarah. 5 suspects neutralized. 0 casualties. Minimum force used. Hostages secure. Sarah said nothing. "You know what happens now?" Director Chen said. "Yes, ma'am. They're going to want to know who you are." "What you are?" "The hospital. The media. Everyone." Sarah nodded. Behind them, more vehicles were arriving. Not police. Different. Federal. The hospital administrator arrived 30 minutes later. Mr. Brennan. Expensive suit. Expensive watch. A man who measured success in quarterly reports. He pushed through the police line. Saw the scene. Saw the camera crews. Saw his hospital on every news channel. His face went from red to purple. "Who authorized this?" He shouted at no one in particular. "Where's security?" "Where's he saw Dr. Harrison sitting on an ambulance bumper?" "Wrapped in a shock blanket, Robert." "What happened?" "Who did this?" Dr. Harrison looked up. His eyes were distant. "Still processing, Sarah," he said quietly. "Sarah Chen happened." "Who the hell is Sarah Chen?" "The intern. Except." Harrison's voice trailed off. "Except she's not." Brennan spotted Director Chen near the black SUV. Marched over. "I demand an explanation. This is a private hospital. You can't just..." Director Chen held up her badge. "FBI." Brennan's mouth snapped shut. "Mr. Brennan," she said calmly, "I suggest you take a seat. This is going to take a while, but sit down." He sat. Sarah emerged from the hospital. She'd changed out of her bloody scrubs. Someone had given her a dark jacket. FBI printed on the back. The cameras caught her. Zoomed in. Asterisk, that's her. Someone shouted, "That's the nurse." A reporter broke through the line. Microphone extended. "Miss, is it true you stopped the terrorists alone? How did you 2 agents step between them?" "Back off." Now. But more reporters were gathering. More questions. More cameras. Inside the perimeter, the hostages were being interviewed. Kelly was talking to an agent, pointing at Sarah, her hands moving. "Anema." Tatter Harrison stood up, walked over to where Sarah stood with Director Chen. He looked at her like he was seeing her for the first time. "You're not an intern," he said. Statement, not question. "No, sir." "You've never been an intern?" "No, sir." "The coffee runs. The supply restocking. The night shifts no one else wanted." "That was all," Cover Sarah said. "Yes, sir." His jaw worked. "How long?" 3 years. 3 years. "You've been in my hospital for 3 years. Taking orders from me. Letting me treat you like an intern," Sarah finished. "That was the job." "What do you really..." Director Chen answered. That's classified. Classified. My hospital was just attacked by terrorists. I think you deserve to be alive, Director Chen said. Her voice had gone cold. Which you are. Because of her. Harrison looked at Sarah. Really looked. Saw the way she held herself. Military straight. No wasted movement. Saw her eyes. Calm. Alert. Scanning. Always scanning. Saw the slight bulge under her jacket, where a sidearm now rested. Oh my God, he whispered. When I asked you to help with that cardiac arrest last month, when I was panicking and you took over. The way you gave orders. The way you moved. I thought you were just good under pressure. Sarah said nothing. But you weren't stressed at all, were you? A man dying on the table. That was nothing to you. I've seen worse, Sarah said quietly. Another vehicle pulled up. Not FBI, not police, military, a staff car, black flags on the front. Everyone turned to look. The door opened. A man stepped out. Older gray hair. Dress uniform. Stars on his shoulders. 3 stars. A lieutenant general. The police officers stood straighter. The FBI agents looked confused. The general walked straight through the crowd. People parted for him like water. He stopped in front of Sarah. She came to attention. Not the loose attention of a civilian. Perfect. Parade ground. Perfect. Captain Chen, the general said. Sir. At ease. She shifted. Hands behind her back. Eyes forward. Dr. Harrison stared. Captain. Your army? The general glanced at him. Not exactly. Then what? She's one of ours, the general said. That's all you need to know. Director Chen stepped forward. General Morrison. I didn't expect your operation, Director. My operative. We need to talk. They moved away. Left Sarah standing alone with a growing crowd of confused hospital staff. Kelly approached, hesitant. Sarah. Hey, Kelly, you okay? No. Kelly's eyes filled with tears. You saved my life. Those men were going to... And you just... How did you do that? Training. Sarah said simply. But you're a nurse. Sometimes I don't understand. Sarah looked at her. This young woman who'd just survived something that would haunt her for years. Who'd seen things no one should see. Who'd seen Sarah do things nurses didn't do. Kelly, can I tell you something? Okay. The world is full of monsters. Real ones, not the kind in movies. The kind that hurt people because they like it. Because they want power. Because they can. Kelly nodded slowly. Most people never see them. You're lucky. You go your whole life and never meet one. I met them tonight. Yes, you did. And you? Kelly whispered. What are you? Sarah smiled, sad, tired. I'm the thing that hunts the monsters. A commotion erupted near the hospital entrance. The bound terrorists were being brought out, conscious now. In custody, the leader saw Sarah. His eyes went wide. He shouted something in Arabic. Struggled against his restraints. Sarah didn't react. Didn't even look at him. She'd heard it all before. The threats. The promises of revenge. Empty words from broken men. An FBI agent approached. Young, eager, ma'am. They're asking for you inside. The hostages. They want to thank you. Sal looked at the hospital doors. Saw the faces pressed against the windows. Doctors, nurses, people she'd worked beside for 3 years. People who'd never really known her. Tell them. Sarah paused. Tell them I was just doing my job. But ma'am, you saved my job. The agent backed away. Director Chen and General Morrison returned. Both looked serious. Captain Morrison said, Your cover is comprehensively blown. Every news outlet in the country has your face. Social media is exploding. By morning, you'll be the most famous nurse in America.
Yes, sir.
This was a deep cover operation. 3 years of intelligence gathering. All of it compromised. I understand, sir. Do you? Morrison's voice hardened. Do you understand what you threw away? The trafficking network you were tracking. The connections we were mapping, all gone. Because you couldn't stay in character for one night. Sarah met his eyes. Permission to speak freely, sir? Granted. Respect, sir. I don't give a damn about the operation. They were hurting people. Right in front of me. I took an oath. To protect. Not to watch. Morrison stared at her. Then he did something that surprised everyone. Smiled. That, he said, is exactly what I hoped you'd say. Dr. Harrison had moved closer. Listening. General, I still don't understand. If she's military, why was she in my hospital? What was she? Morrison turned to him. The smile was gone. Doctor, you're going to sign a lot of paperwork tonight. NDAs, security agreements, classification documents. And you're going to forget most of what you saw. Do you understand? But do you understand? Harrison swallowed, nodded. Good. Morrison looked back at Sarah. You're being reassigned. Effective immediately, sir. Your cover's blown. But your face is about to be everywhere. We're going to use that. Director Chen nodded. We've been discussing it. The media wants a hero. The public wants a story. We're going to give them one. Don't understand, Sarah said. You're going public, Morrison said. Controlled release. Carefully crafted narrative. The nurse who was secretly a federal agent, the woman who saved a hospital full of people. That's exactly what happened. We're just leaving out some of the details. Like which agency you actually work for, and what you've really been doing for the past decade. Sarah was quiet, processing. What about the trafficking network? She asked. We'll find another way, Director Chen said. Another operative. Another approach? And me? Morrison's expression softened. Just slightly. You're going home, Captain. Real home. No more aliases. No more cover. You've earned it. Sun was rising when they finally let the hospital staff go. Home, but nobody left. They gathered in the parking lot, nurses, doctors, technicians, all. Staring at Sarah like she was a stranger, because she, WAS Dr. Harrison, stood at the front of the group, his shock blanket discarded, his pride wounded. 3 years, he said, his voice carried in the quiet morning air. 3 years you let me order you around? Treat you like you were nothing. Sarah said nothing. All those times I made you fetch coffee, restock supplies, work the overnight shifts. You never complained. Never pushed back. It was the job, Sarah said. The job. Harrison laughed, bitter. I called you sweetheart yesterday. Told you to smile more. Do you know how that makes me feel now? I imagine pretty bad. I watched you drop 4 armed men like they were nothing. Like it was easy. And I realize I never knew you at all. Sarah met his eyes. You knew enough. Did I? Because the woman I thought I knew was timid, uncertain, green, and the woman standing here, he gestured at her. At the FBI jacket, at the general standing nearby, this woman is a ghost. I was always this woman, Sarah said quietly. I just let you see what you expected to see. Why? The question came from one of the nurses, Maria. Single mother. Always kind to Sarah. Why pretend? Why hide? Sarah looked at them. These people she'd worked beside, shared lunches with, made small talk with for 3 years, because the people I was tracking used this hospital, she said. They brought patients here, moved money through the billing system, used the morgue to transport things that weren't bodies. Gasps, murmurs. We suspected trafficking, Director Chen added. Human trafficking. The hospital was a node in their network. Brennan, the administrator, went pale. That's impossible. I would have known. Would you? Sarah asked. How many patients come through here every day? How many do you actually see? Talk to, but the paperwork? The systems were being manipulated. By someone with access. Sarah looked at him. Someone we're still looking for. The crowd went quiet. Someone in the hospital was working with traffickers. Someone they all knew. God, Maria whispered. It could be anyone. Not anyone, Sarah said. Someone with authority. Access to records. The ability to move freely without question. Every administrator, every department head felt eyes turning toward them. We'll find them, Director Chen said firmly. That investigation continues. Kelly stepped forward. Still wrapped in a blanket? Still shaking slightly. Those men tonight. The terrorists. Were they connected to the trafficking? No, Sarah shook her head. Different threat. Wrong place, wrong time. They targeted the hospital because it was soft. Lots of people. Lots of media coverage. But you stopped them. Yes. How? Dr. Harrison asked. The question everyone wanted answered. How does a nurse? I'm not just a nurse, Sarah said. I haven't been for a long time. General Morrison stepped forward. What Captain Chen is trying to say? Asterisk Captain? Another doctor. Army. Not exactly, Morrison said. Captain Chen holds a commission? Yes. But her service record is complicated. Complicated how? Morrison looked at Sarah. She nodded slightly. Captain Chen enlisted at 18, Morrison said. Infantry. Deployed to Afghanistan 6 months later. Showed exceptional aptitude for combat operations. Was recruited for specialized training at 20. Specialized how? Harrison pressed. The kind we don't talk about in parking lots, Morrison said flatly. The kind that doesn't appear on any public record. The kind that requires security clearances you don't have. Special forces, someone whispered. Morrison didn't confirm or deny. She served for 8 years in that capacity, he continued. Multiple deployments. Multiple theaters. Then she was recruited for intelligence work. Deep cover operations. That's when she became a nurse. Wait, Kelly said. You actually went to nursing school? 2 years, Sarah said. Accelerated program. I'm fully licensed. But why? Why not just... I don't know. Use a fake ID. Because cover isn't just documents, Sarah said. It's knowledge, skills, habits. You can't fake being a nurse. Not for 3 years. Not around real nurses who would notice. Maria was nodding slowly. That's why you were always so good. The way you handled codes, traumas, you never panicked. I've seen worse than cardiac arrests, Sarah said simply. Dr. Harrison's face had changed. The anger fading. Something else replacing it. The cardiac arrest last month, he said. Mr. Peterson, he was coding, and I froze. I'm chief of surgery, and I froze. And you just took over. You ran that code better than I've seen residents with 5 years' experience. Combat medicine is different, Sarah said. You learn to work fast, or people die. How many? Harrison asked quietly. How many what? How many people have died while you watched? How many have you saved? Sarah looked away. Out at the horizon where the sun was painting the sky orange and gold. I don't count anymore, she said. It's a bad habit. Leads to nightmares. The crowd was silent. They were seeing her now. Really seeing her. Not the intern who fetched coffee. Not the new nurse who worked night shifts. A soldier. A warrior. Someone who'd walked through hell and come back carrying the weight of things they couldn't imagine. The scars, Maria said suddenly. I saw them once. In the locker room. On your back? You said it was a car accident. It wasn't a car accident, Sarah said. What was it? Sarah looked at General Morrison. He shook his head slightly. Classified, Sarah said. Sorry. An ambulance pulled up. Late arrival. 2 paramedics stepped out. Saw the crowd. Looked confused. One of them, Jake, a regular at the hospital, spotted Sarah in the FBI jacket. Sarah, what's going on? We heard there was a terrorist attack. But his eyes widened. Wait, you're wearing FBI gear? Did they recruit you or something? Or something, Sarah said. Jake looked at the general. The federal agents? The crowd of stunned hospital staff. Okay, he said slowly. I feel like I missed something important. Sarah's been undercover this whole time, Kelly said. Her voice was getting stronger, the shock wearing off. She's not really a nurse. I don't even know. Some kind of super spy. It's not a spy, Director Chen corrected. And definitely a real nurse. She just has other skills. Other skills like taking down terrorists single-handedly? Jake asked. That's classified too, Morrison said. Jake looked at Sarah. You know what? I'm not even surprised. You always were too competent. I told Mike you were probably CIA or something. He said I watched too many movies. Mike was right, Sarah said. I'm not CIA, but you were something. Yes, something classified. Very Jake grinned. Cool, it broke the tension. A few people laughed, nervous, relieved. The sun was fully up now. The news crews were packing up. The police were removing the tape. A normal Saturday morning. Except for the bullet holes in the lobby ceiling, Dr. Harrison approached Sarah one more time. I owe you an apology, he said. 3 years of apologies you don't. Yes, I do. His voice was firm. I treated you terribly, dismissed you, belittled you, and you saved my life anyway. Sarah looked at him. You didn't know. That's not an excuse. I should have treated you with respect regardless. Every person deserves that. He extended his hand. Sarah shook it. For what it's worth, Harrison said, you're the best nurse I've ever worked with. Cover or no cover. That was real. Thank you, sir, if you ever want to come back. As yourself. The hospital would be lucky to have you. Sarah smiled. I appreciate that, but I think my nursing days are over. What happens now? Sarah looked at Morrison, at Director Chen, at the vehicles waiting to take her away. Now I disappear again, she said. Different face, different name, different mission. That's not fair, Kelly said. You just saved 30 people. You're a hero. And they're going to hide you? Heroes get people killed, Sarah said. Anonymous operators save lives. Director Chen's phone buzzed. She checked it, frowned. We need to move, she said to Morrison. Media's caught wind of something. Questions being asked about her background. Time to go, Morrison agreed. He looked at Sarah. Captain? Transport's ready, Sarah nodded. Started walking toward the waiting vehicle. Sarah, Kelly called out. Will we ever see you again? Sarah paused, looked back. Maybe she said, if you're lucky or unlucky, depending how you look at it. She climbed into the SUV. The door closed. The vehicle pulled away. And just like that, Sarah Chen, intern nurse. Ghost was gone. The SUV stopped 2 miles from the hospital. No explanation. Sarah looked out the window. They were parked in front of a nondescript office building. Gray. Unremarkable. The kind of place you'd walk past 1,000 times and never notice. Out, Director Chen said. They entered through a side door. Descended stairs. 1 level. 2. An elevator at the bottom. No buttons. Biometric scanner. Director Chen pressed her palm to it. The doors opened. Down they went. Deep underground, the doors opened on a corridor Sarah knew well. Concrete walls. Fluorescent lights. Cameras in every corner. Armed guards at every junction. This wasn't FBI. Headquarters, this was something else. They stopped at a door marked only with a number. 217. Morrison opened it. Inside was a conference room. Large, clean, a table that could seat 20. Only one person sat there now. A woman. 60-something, steel gray hair pulled back. Business suit. Sharp eyes that missed nothing. Sarah recognized her immediately. So did the entire intelligence. Community Director Ellen Vasquez, head of the Defense Intelligence Agency. 3 stars. Direct report to the Secretary of Defense. One of the most powerful people in the military intelligence apparatus. Sarah came to attention. At ease, Captain, Vasquez said. Her voice was quiet but carried authority like a weapon. Sarah sat. Morrison and Director Chen took seats on either side of her. Hell of a night, Vasquez said. Yes, ma'am. 5 hostiles neutralized. 0 casualties. Textbook close quarters combat. Except you weren't supposed to engage. No, ma'am. You're supposed to maintain cover. Monitor. Report. Not intervene.
Yes, ma'am.
Vasquez studied her. Why did you? Sarah met her eyes. They were going to rape that girl. Then kill her. Then film it. And send it to every news outlet in America. I couldn't let that happen. Couldn't. Or wouldn't. Both. Vasquez leaned back. 3 years of operation planning. $6 million in resources. 15 different intelligence agencies coordinating. All to map a human trafficking network spanning 4 continents. And you threw it all away for one girl? Sarah said nothing. Is it worth it? Vasquez asked. Ask Kelly if it was worth it. A ghost of a smile crossed Vasquez's face. You know what I like about you, Captain? No, ma'am. You don't bullshit. Every other operator I've commanded would be sitting here making excuses, talking about calculated risks and acceptable parameters. You just look me in the eye and say you couldn't let a girl get raped. Refreshing. She opened a folder on the table. Photos spilled out. The terrorists from last night. Mug shots now. These men weren't random, Vasquez said. We've ID'd them. 3 Chechen nationals. 1 Syrian. 1 Yemeni. All connected to a cell we've been tracking for 18 months. Sarah leaned forward. They were targets. No, but they were connected to targets. And now, thanks to you, they're talking. Morrison spoke up. Turns out scared terrorists who thought they were attacking a soft target get very cooperative when they realize they were taken down by a single woman. Oh, it's humiliating, Director Chen added. From their perspective, defeats their whole narrative. They're spilling everything. Vasquez pulled out another photo. A man, 50s, expensive suit, smiling for the camera. Recognize him? Sarah studied the face. No, ma'am. This is Dmitry Volkov, Russian national. Businessman, officially. Arms dealer, actually. Also heavily invested in human trafficking. We've been trying to connect him to specific operations for 3 years. She pulled out another photo. Sarah's blood went cold. It was from inside the hospital. Security footage. Someone in scrubs walking through a corridor. Someone she knew. Dr. Marcus Webb, Vasquez said. Head of internal medicine. Been at the hospital for 5 years. Respected, well-liked, clean background. Except, Sarah asked. Except he's been moving Volkov's products through the hospital for 18 months. We couldn't prove it. Until now. Another photo. Webb meeting with one of the terrorists. In a coffee shop. 3 weeks ago. The attack tonight wasn't random, Morrison said. It was coordinated. Webb fed them information. Building layouts. Security protocols. Shift schedules. Sarah's jaw tightened. He set up his own hospital? Volkov wanted a spectacle, Vasquez said. A terror attack on American soil. Media coverage. Proof that nowhere is safe. Webb provided the target for a price. How much? $2 million? And a new identity in Moscow? Sarah thought about Dr. Webb, his kind smile, his terrible jokes, the way he always remembered everyone's birthday. A monster in a white coat. Where is he now? She asked. FBI has him, Director Chen said. Picked him up 20 minutes ago. He was at the airport. One-way ticket to Moscow. He's cooperating. Of course he is, Sarah said. Disgust in her voice, Vasquez closed the folder. So, to answer my question, was blowing your cover worth it? You saved 30 hostages. You stopped a terror attack. You broke a trafficking network. And you handed us Volkov on a silver platter. She smiled. Actually smiled. I'd say it was worth it. Sarah blinked. Ma'am, you're not in trouble, Captain. You're getting a commendation. What? Morrison grinned. You didn't think we brought you down here to yell at you, did you? I destroyed an operation. You completed an operation, Vasquez corrected. Just not the way we planned. Sometimes that's how it works. The mission adapts. The objective changes. What matters is the outcome. She stood. Everyone else stood with her. Captain Sarah Chen Vasquez said formally, "For actions above and beyond the call of duty, for exceptional valor in the face of hostile forces, for the protection of civilian lives at significant personal risk, and for 3 years of exemplary service in deep cover operations." She paused, reached into her pocket, pulled out a small box, opened. It inside were stars, not 3, 4. You're hereby promoted to major, effective immediately. Sarah stared. "Ma'am, there's a chain of command, a process which I'm choosing to accelerate," Vasquez said. "You've earned this 10 times over. The paperwork will catch up." She pinned the new insignia on Sarah's collar, stepped back, saluted. Sarah returned it. "Crisp, perfect, Major Chin," Vasquez said. "Welcome to your new assignment." "New assignment?" "You're going public. Like we discussed, but not as FBI, as DIA. We're creating a new unit, public-facing, lead operators conducting high-risk domestic operations. You're going to lead it." Sarah's mind raced. "A public special operations unit. That's not how we work. It's not how we used to work," Vasquez corrected. "But times are changing. The threats are changing. Terrorists attacking hospitals, traffickers using medical facilities. We need operators who can blend in, who can be anything, go anywhere you want. More people like me." "Exactly. And you're going to train them," Morrison added. "The media story is already in motion. Nurse hero headlines are everywhere. We're going to give them a press conference. You in uniform, telling a carefully edited version of what happened, and then you disappear again," Vasquez said. "Different cover, different mission. But this time, when you need to surface, you can. As yourself. As Major Chen." Sarah processed this. "A visible secret identity. The best kind," Director Chen said. "Hiding in plain sight." Vasquez moved to the door. "You've got 48 hours. Rest. Prepare. Then you're going to step in front of the cameras and become the face of modern intelligence operations. And if I say no..." Vasquez paused, looked back. "I've read your file, Major. All of it. The parts that exist, the parts that don't. It's the missions that succeeded, the ones that didn't, the people you saved, the ones you couldn't." Shh. Her voice softened. "Just slightly. You didn't join to hide in shadows forever. You joined to protect people. This is your chance to do that on a scale you've never imagined. To inspire the next generation of operators. To show the world that monsters can be fought and beaten." She opened the door. "Plus you get to keep being a nurse. Part-time cover operations still need cover." She left. Morrison and Director Chen followed. Sarah stood alone. In the conference room, Major Team. Leader, public operator. It was everything she'd never wanted and exactly what she'd always needed. 3 days later, Sarah Chen stood at a podium, full dress uniform, new rank insignia gleaming, cameras everywhere, reporters shouting questions. Dr. Harrison was in the front row. Kelly beside him, Maria, Miguel, the entire hospital staff who could get away, all staring at her, seeing her finally. "My name is Major Sarah Chen," she said into the microphone. "And for the past 3 years, I've been serving undercover as a nurse. What happened 3 nights ago wasn't supposed to happen. I wasn't supposed to engage. But sometimes the mission changes. Sometimes you have to choose between the objective and doing what's right." She looked at Kelly. "I chose what's right." Applause. Cameras flashing. Questions shouted. "Major Chen? Is it true your army?" "DIA," she corrected. "Defense Intelligence Agency." "How long have you been in the military?" 12 years. "Why nursing?" "Because healthcare facilities are everywhere. See everything. And no one suspects a nurse? Will you go back undercover?" Sarah smiled. Small. Mysterious. "I already am." More questions? More cameras. But Sarah was looking past them now. At the hospital staff. The people she'd worked beside, protected, saved. Dr. Harrison stood up. Started clapping. Kelly joined him. Then Maria, Miguel, every nurse. Every doctor. The people who'd underestimated her, who'd treated her like she was nothing. They were standing now. All of them, applauding, not for the hero, for the ghost who'd walked among them. Hood carried a silent badge in a secret war, who'd been ready. Every single day, to become exactly what they needed her to. Be. A nurse. A soldier. A. Warrior. A shield against the dark. Sarah stood at that podium and let them see her. All of her, for the first time in 3 years, and somewhere, in shadows she couldn't see. Other operators watched other ghosts carrying silent badges, knowing their time might come, knowing that when it did, they'd be ready, just like Sarah Chen, just like always.